Origin of Kanban dates back to the 1950s when Taiichi Ono, an engineer at Toyota, observed how in the American supermarkets, store clerks restock the products on the shelves depending on the demand and right before the existing supply was just about to run out. This observation gave Ono the basis for creating a new system or process which came to be called Kanban. Kanban became part of a larger process called the Toyota Production System, also created by Taiichi Ono. So what is Kanban? In simple terms, Kanban is a pull-based process where a team pulls a work item from a pile of work items, works on that work item, and when that work item is completed, it pulls the next work item from the pile of work items. Think of the pile of work items as a to-do list. In case of software development, the pile of work items or the to-do list is the product backlog. In other words, when a software development team uses Kanban, it pulls user stories from a product backlog, works on the user stories until they're completed, and then pulls the next set of user stories from the backlog, and so on and so forth. The team may pull one user story at a time, or they may pull more than one user story at a time to work on. That depends on the team's experience, capacity, and the type of application being built. Kanban is a Japanese word which literally means visual card. This means that a team practicing Kanban must visualize its work at all times. This is accomplished by using something called a Kanban board, which displays or visualizes all the work that a team is doing. Here is a simple version of a Kanban board. It has 3 columns: to do, in progress, and completed, as you can see. Each column represents a state in which a given work item or user story can be in. The to-do column displays all the user stories that the team needs to get done, but has not started to work on. The in progress column displays the stories that the team is currently working on. And the completed column displays the user stories that the team has finished working on. This is just one example of a Kanban board. There can be many different types of Kanban boards. For instance, you could have a 4-column Kanban board with column titles such as to do, in progress, completed, and release to customer. Or you could have a Kanban board with 5 columns or states such as not started, in development, in test, ready for acceptance test, and release to customer. So as you can see, a Kanban board is highly customizable, and a team can design their Kanban board with any number of columns or states in order to visually display their work as they best see fit. Let's talk a little bit about the roles in Kanban. A true Kanban software development team does not have a product owner role or a Scrum Master role. Rather, a Kanban software development team is purely a cross-functional team comprising of developers, testers, and UX design engineers. Since there is no product owner role in a Kanban software development team, anyone in the team is authorized to add to the product backlog based on business demand and end user needs. Also, since there is no Scrum Master role, the team has to be able to self-organize and self-direct among themselves and also have a high degree of cohesiveness. As you can probably tell, for a team to adopt Kanban, they need to be self-starters with a certain level of maturity to self-organize and self-direct. Another key aspect of the Kanban process is that there are no sprints or iterations. A Kanban team keeps working on the backlog items in a continuous manner or in a continuous flow, which is to take one or more user stories at a time, work on them till completion, then take the next set of stories, and so on and so forth. Finally, the Kanban process has an important attribute called work in process limit or WIP limit. This attribute requires a Kanban team to choose a limit on the maximum number of work items or user stories that can be allowed in any of the states or columns of their Kanban board. For instance, let's take this Kanban board as an example. Let's say that the team decides to choose a WIP limit of 10 on the not started or the to-do column, a WIP limit of 4 on the in progress column, and a WIP limit of 3 in the completed column. The WIP limit for each column essentially means that at any given time there should not be more work items in that column than the chosen WIP limit for that column. So the in progress column with a WIP limit of 4 should not have more than 4 work items or user stories in it. And the to do column should not have more than 10 work items or user stories in it, and so on and so forth. The WIP limit for each column is collectively decided by the team. WIP limits provide two major benefits. One, it prevents team members from task switching, which studies have shown leads to loss of productivity. And two, it prevents bottlenecks. Together, these benefits help maintain continuous flow of work for a Kanban software development team. Now, there is no magic formula to determining WIP limits. A common way for a Kanban team to determine WIP limits is to start with a small number as a WIP limit for a column and gradually increase it over time until a point is reached when the flow of work starts to get impeded. Alright, so that wraps up our Intro to Kanban lecture.